Hello everyone, welcome to Silver Tears Tarot. It is great to have you here. So I have a reading that comes to us specially requested. So yesterday I put a note out on Instagram and I just told people that if they had special requests for readings that I would be willing to do those as readings for the collective. And so the cool thing about it is that means so my audience is really small because my channel is really new. And so that means these are almost like a personal reading for the few people who tune in. So, yes, it is a general reading. I am doing it for the whole collective. And it will resonate with maybe not everyone, but hopefully it will resonate with you because it's going to really attract the people for whom it would most likely resonate. So whereas I'm not totally sure what drove you to click on this link, I will say you probably know, and that's what makes it important. So if this one resonates for you, that's awesome. Please remember to like and share and subscribe as always. But we're going to take a look at basically, we've got this question is coming from a person who's in separation from their person, and they're asking the question about whether their person is coming back. And so I want to use kind of a variation on the spread that I used in the last reading, the last couple of readings. I want to use something very similar, but with some slightly different questions. And so again, we're focusing here on whether lovers in separation are coming back together, really. And so, you don't have to be the person who requested it. And we know that general readings aren't going to resonate with everybody. But if you're in that situation, give it a try. Let's see what kinds of things we find. So really the first question that I want to ask is that current energy. And so this is going to be the current energy that kind of brought you to the place where you are now. And I'm seeing the Three of Swords. It's come out in the reverse. And so the Three of Swords is really about sadness, heartbreak. But with it being in the reverse, what I'm seeing is that this is a relationship that maybe had come about because either you or the other person was in heartbreak at the time that things came together, and the two of you being together helped to relieve that a little bit. So it's a healing. Not really, though. So that was kind of the first thing that I wanted to say when the card came out, but it's not really a healing from heartbreak. It's more of a take your mind off the heartbreak. So this person came into your life, and all of a sudden some of that heartbreak that you've experienced in the past started to fall away and not mean so much. So let's see maybe a little bit more. I'm curious to know a little bit more about the relationship itself. What type of relationship it was. We'll clarify here in a little bit, but what did it even mean to you guys? So, and what did it mean to your person? We've got Four of Cups in reverse. So this one knocked their socks off. Four of Cups in the upright is kind of, if you look at it, she's bored. She's not very excited. This is kind of a bored, disappointed card, depending on how it comes out and where it comes out in the spread. So in this case, in the reverse, it's really about this relationship having been the opposite of disappointing. And maybe it is even that when the two of you came together, it didn't seem like it was going to be that big of a deal, but then it really, it surprised both of you. So I'd be curious to know now how they feel. So how does your person feel about you? Oh, and this is more than one card. So if one card falls, even if it falls upside down, I go ahead and take it in the way that it's oriented. If it doesn't come out that way, if I come out with multiple cards, then I just take the one that's on top. So let's see, Five of Swords. That's what's coming out with how they have felt about you. And this Five of Swords is, it's really a matter of it's a success, but at what cost kind of situation. So maybe there was a battle, there was some kind of issue that happened here, and they walked away feeling like they had created some kind of success, but it was at a great cost to them. And so it really ended up, I get the sense that it kind of turns this Three of Swords over here upside down. So not only were they kind of dealing with the heartbreak that they were already trying to get past over here, but now the new heartbreak that resulted from circumstances within your relationship. And so this also wants to come out. I got the sense I needed to shuffle a little bit more here. So again, we're digging into how they feel about you. So it's, it's that victory that's not really a victory. It's a false victory. But then the other side of it was like, this is just a load that was so heavy and overwhelming that you just couldn't carry it, or they just couldn't carry it. And I can't tell whether this one is you or them. So we'll look to see when we clarify which of you that is. But basically, it's a load too heavy to carry, and ended up, kind of falling. So I guess I'd be curious to know why that happened, and we'll look at that when we clarify. But what does this person want? So I wonder, as I'm thinking about it, we've got a person here who, when you originally came together, you helped to, what it felt like, mend each other's hearts. And it was amazing. You didn't expect it to be as amazing maybe as it turned out to be, but it was difficult when you walked away. There was this sense of overwhelming, I've just got to drop this. I can't carry this anymore. And I'm doing this, but I don't feel great about it. So I feel like that one's definitely on your person's part, them not feeling great about it. And I'm curious to know, what would they want to happen here? So after all this has happened, what would be their best outcome? What do they wish could happen here? So this is Lovers in separation. And what is the other person wishing for? To some degree, we're looking at what their hopes and dreams are. Okay. And so they just want to feel ready for it. This is the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands can mean a variety of things, but in this case, it's being ready for what's coming your direction, and they want to feel ready for it. So in some ways, your person feels unprepared for some of what has happened here and what has transpired between the two of you, but they just wish they could feel more prepared and like they weren't floundering through everything with this. So that's what they wish they could have. That's what they wish would have happened. And over here, I'm going to look for kind of what else, what are the hidden energies? What are those things that are maybe hidden around a corner that Spirit wants you to know, but you haven't had the opportunity to see yet, or maybe you haven't been in a position to see yet, because sometimes it really is like you have to turn the corner. You have to, maybe it's an emotional corner. It's not always something physical, but you've got to get to a place where you're more ready to see something. You can't always just gain that new perspective right off the bat. Sometimes just knowing is not the whole thing. So what is that hidden energy? What else does Spirit want you to know, but maybe something that hasn't come out just yet about your person? Okay, so we've got somebody unwilling to travel the distance. And in this case, so the Two of Wands sometimes is about travel. And with it being in the reverse, this is somebody who's really, they've weighed some options here and they've decided that traveling is not the right answer. So it could be that they literally have not figured out how to travel the distance in like physical distance if you guys live far apart, or they've decided that they don't want to have a long distance relationship, or it could simply be they're unwilling to travel the emotional distance that is required for the two of you to see eye to eye. And so that explains, usually when I'm thinking about hidden energies in a situation like this, I'm often thinking about what are the circumstances that led to the no communication situation. And in this case, it was just somebody unwilling to make a shift that they needed to make somewhere. So let's see what's coming next for you And really what's coming next, it's not necessarily that final outcome. It may be because time is funny in tarot. The universe doesn't really think about time the way that we think about time, and the way that we experience it. So it's not always when, it's about what. And we've got two cards that came out here. So we've got the Chariot and the Empress. And so generally, if I get more than one, I may be guided to take more than one. A lot of times I don't, but here I was guided to take more than one. So here we have the Chariot and the Empress. And in this case, the Chariot is actually sort of a, and I said this in a previous reading, and it really doesn't always mean this, but in this case, it's a you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here sort of feeling. So it's things cannot remain the way they currently are in your situation, and that they will become more balanced. So the Empress is balanced. She is developed. She has covered the healing and the ground that needs to be covered in order to really get to where you need to get with your healing. And so it sounds like this healing is going to happen, and it's going to be because of this impetus of not being able to stay where you are. It's about that being uncomfortable and then seeing kind of where that leads you. So there's certainly something good to be said for being uncomfortable. You have to be able to, in order to figure out kind of what that next step is going to look like and what you need to do. But then you got to figure out how to move past it and really what's going to make the most sense for you, because you've been through something here, you know. This is definitely, it's a tough situation to work through. So let's go ahead and clarify. And so just to catch you up, I use the Good Karma deck. This is the Good Karma deck that you see out on the table. And this is the Constellation deck. So a fun little bit of trivia. This is actually my very first tarot deck, the Constellation deck. So first, we'll use it to clarify that Three of Swords in reverse. So we know that when we saw that, it was the two of you coming together because, and really enjoying coming together because you were helping each other to feel more healed. Even though maybe you weren't actually healing, what else can we learn about that Three of Swords that's in reverse? And one of the reasons I really love this Constellation deck is because it is fantastic for looking at the divine masculine. So if you've got a divine feminine, divine masculine sort of situation, this is a great way to look at it. Okay, and so Queen of Pentacles is our first card here. Let me just kind of move my deck over. So we know that this was a situation where the two of you made each other feel a lot better. And you know, the Queen of Pentacles is an incredibly nurturing energy. That's a queen that can just kind of bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan, if you're from old enough to remember the old commercial. And this was just this woman can do everything. And of course, it's not always a woman. There's no gender in tarot, but that's what the queen represents. And here we have the Cetus card. And so let me give you a look at this one. So this is the Cetus card in this deck, and it is the same as the Devil in the traditional tarot. Okay, so that means, you know, it's not actually symbolic of the devil for those of you who are maybe newer to tarot. It's more symbolic of something that's controlling you or controlling a situation. But it can also be obsessive thinking, and that's kind of what I'm feeling here. So there's maybe a little bit of obsessive thinking, maybe a little bit of I don't know, I hate to use the term codependence, but I think it's the right one for this situation. So maybe even some experiences around codependence that you triggered in one another. So at the same time, you were doing this wonderful thing where you made each other feel better and kind of made each other forget your pains from the past. But unfortunately, it wasn't especially healing you from those pains in the past. And so you've got this sort of incredible feeling of feeling taken care of feeling like, you know, this person's really got your back and you're a team. but you're almost locked into them. Like it's like you can't get away from them even if you tried. So then when you walk away or you have that silence that builds, this is especially difficult to deal with, because again, not only does the pain happen from them walking away and from the silence that's happening in the relationship, but also you've got that feeling coming back that you thought you were kind of getting rid of with the relationship, but really was just being masked back here with the old broken heart. So let's look a little bit at this Four of Cups in reverse and understand a little bit more about this. So this was how you guys viewed the relationship, and really kind of how it was for you. It knocked your socks off, and it's got that feeling of having been a little bit unexpected in just how much it knocked your socks off. So I guess I'd like to see some clarity on that and just understand if there's more that we need to understand around that Four of Cups in reverse. This was not a disappointment. This was, in fact, an unexpected delight. You were not looking for this person when they came around. If this is your reading, they came out of the blue, surprised you, and then sort of withdrew. So they came in and were amazed. Page of Swords in reverse. Oh, here we go. I'm wondering if all these readings are connected. So this Page of Swords in reverse is, it's kind of that feeling of, it's unreliable. So I want to say it's kind of that in and out feeling. It's not quite breadcrumbing, but it kind of is. There may have been some breadcrumbing, but really what happens here is it's unreliable energy. So it's I came in, it's what we were just talking about. They come in and then they get out. And then we've got the Eight of Pentacles. Oh, this could even be a work person. I don't always get that off the Eight of Pentacles because sometimes it's self-mastery. Sometimes it's all these amazing things kind of woven into it. But right here, it just totally feels like work. So I'm wondering if maybe this was a work person that graced you, that you kind of weren't looking for because you were at work. And it turned out to be amazing. And just like I said, knocked your socks off, but they were out as fast as they came in. So there's something to think about. And then next over here, this was about how they saw it, how did they feel about you? And so it was like there was this feeling of having a success, but having it not really be a success that makes you feel good afterwards. So you win, but again, at what cost? You basically just failed and walked away and dropped this thing. And it's very uncomfortable and awkward and not thought out. Oh, Ten of Cups, because you are the Ten of Cups. All right, so the Ten of Cups is around that happiness, and in this case, it's a real dreamy sort of, I can't even believe this. It's too good to be true. Like you didn't see it coming, and now it's too good to be true. This is what they thought of you. So maybe it was mutual that you didn't expect it, and that it ended up being amazing, but they felt like you were just too good to be true, and that is what was generating the fear. So that's what maybe caused them to do this thing that ends up being a battle that is won, but not, again, at what cost. So we have here, and yeah, okay, so this is Cassiopeia, and in a traditional deck, this would be the Judgment card. So in this case, with it being in reverse like that, this isn't you guys not coming together. So sometimes the Judgment card is a rejuvenation of the relationship energy. It's the two of you coming back together. That's not really what this card covers right now. This one is literally judgment. It's you guys looking back on the situation, or in this case, it's your person looking back on the situation and saying, this is how it comes across. It does not pass judgment. I am not satisfied with this. So I've done something that I felt like was going to be a win, but instead it was just a failure. We see it here and we see it reiterated here. And do we want one more card on this one? And this is, again, their complex feelings around you. I think I felt one turn over here. Could swear I saw one turn over. Or felt one turn over. All right. Let me try and shuffle for it. Maybe not. Okay. But I feel like, oh, no, there it is. All right. So it's the Seven of Cups in reverse. And this is kind of that, this person has now figured out that this was a mistake. So this was at a cost that they did not want to have to pay. And they figured out that, oh no, now I understand. This is no longer a foggy mystery to me. Now I can just see it's a mistake. I've made a mistake. So here's a person that, as they think of you, thinks about the fact that they made a mistake. So maybe that's not the most favorable way for them to think about it, but it is part of what goes through their mind just when they think about this relationship and what happened with it. So now let's take a look at this Three of Wands, because remember, this Three of Wands is in the position of what they really want to have happen. And this was a matter of being ready for it. So they wanted to feel like they were ready. And here we have the Ace of Cups. So they weren't ready when they met you. They were surprised by it. They weren't looking for it. And they were totally not expecting it. And then we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. So they want to be able to trust themselves. That's what that one's telling me. The Seven of Swords isn't about deception. It isn't about a strategy. It is about self-trust. And so this person really wishes that they could just be ready for a relationship like this, that they could be ready to have a fresh new start with you, that they would be able to go in with a clean slate. And honestly, they just wish that they trusted themselves, and that you could go back to a time before things got weird or before things got difficult. And with it being this, I feel like things got weird and they sort of tapered off and then eventually disappeared. And so this was partially because they were struggling within themselves. And we see some evidence of that struggle within themselves up here. But this really ends up being, hey, you battled with this person for some reason best known to yourself, ends up being a factor of lack of self-trust. And they just wish they had that trust for themselves. They wish they could stand on their own 2 feet and do this whole thing very differently. So then next we looked into kind of those hidden energies around what was this? What caused this problem, And what we came up with was they were unwilling to bridge the distance between the two of you, whether it's a long distance relationship and they didn't want to have it be a long distance relationship, or it was values that weren't close enough together, or some sort of idea that they just couldn't bridge, they just couldn't get there. So let's look a little bit more deeply into that. And we've got one turned over already, but I'm not supposed to take it. So it's really cool. I can always check and see if I'm supposed to take something, because I get a really clear feeling out of it. All right, and so we've got the Three of Cups in reverse here. All right, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I think I already know what this is. Why they weren't willing to bridge the distance, Oh, here, what came over? All right, so we have the Knight of Pentacles, who is slow anyway, and in reverse in this case has simply stopped. And then we've got the Three of Cups, which is talking about, so it's a third energy, but it's not like somebody they're cheating on. It's not, or cheating on you with. It wasn't like that. It's a third energy, more of it's the job. It's the fact that you work together that creates a problem. They were unwilling to bridge this distance, and they put a stop to it. So it was, like I said, real slow moving, and then just nothing. Then just it stopped, and you actually had the self-worth to let this person walk away, which is ultimately what you had to do. But boy, that's really difficult. So I don't get the sense here that they communicated it very well, though. Let's look at what's coming. So we've got the Chariot and the Empress. So it's the You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, followed by there's going to be some solid development between the two of you here. I almost get the sense like you may not end up together, but you're going to end up in the end able to communicate, able to really respect one another. But let's see here. What is maybe a clarifier or two that we could have over those cards to help us understand what is coming your way? Because again, this could come in many forms. You know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Just means you know things are going to change, and that change is going to come from you. Okay, so all right, there is, oh, that's a divorce, Libra. So actually, this one is like the Justice card in a traditional deck, and in this deck, it's Libra because this is constellation deck. Sometimes this card is around legalities and it's around a relationship. So if there isn't some sort of relationship that needs to end here, I would be surprised. I get the sense that something is going to end that'll help to clear the way. And let's see, Five of Swords in reverse. So this is the Five of Swords in the upright. So this is a matter of clearing up what happened there. When I originally saw this Justice card or this Libra card in the reverse, I thought, oh no, they're not going to fix it. But it didn't feel like that. So here it feels like, yes, it does get fixed, because this is that here I won this battle. Oh, but wait. It wasn't really, it wasn't a great win. And I feel like I just want to get another card for this. Maybe because there's more to be said here about this outcome and what's coming your way. And again, you know, it's what's up next. It's energies that are influencing what's going to happen next, because you've got free will. Your person has free will. You have a lot of their ego wrapped up in this, and their ego can create some fears that can be pretty tough to get past, but we do see them getting past them. So this is the Moon card, secrets coming out here like this in the reverse, and that's a lot more promising. So this looks like communication, but it also looks like getting past whatever this battle was that they just couldn't get past before. So that's actually really positive. This has them coming back. It's generally very positive. Development's going to happen. You know things are going to change. There is a relationship in here that's going to end, though. So if your person is married or in a relationship, then there's a possibility that may shift and change. And I'd like to pull you an oracle card too, because this oracle card, I'm really going to ask for just advice for you. And it's advice across the whole situation. But the fun thing is, it doesn't have to be about this situation. This could just be an advice piece for you that maybe goes into other aspects of your life as well. So let's see what comes out here. And this is the Quantum Oracle. So it is one of my favorite decks. It always seems to have exactly what I need to hear, or what my person that I'm reading for needs to hear. And so in this case, I thought I'd bring it out for the collective. So we've got the experience of loss. And, okay, so what I'm getting off of this card, and let me raise it up here so that you can see it a little bit better. But this is, you see this guy, and he's just kind of staring at this sailboat that has come unmoored and has gone out to sea. There's literally nothing that he can do at this point to catch this thing, because it's caught wind and it's going to be faster than he can swim. So he can see it going away. And this is kind of a situation like what your person feels like they're in, where they can see it going away. But it's also the situation where you feel like you are, maybe. So you still are looking at this and thinking how much time is going to pass before this person comes back. What's really happening here? And what I would say is, you have been in a cycle of decrease. Okay, so we go through these cycles of increase and these cycles of decrease over time, and the cycles of increase bring lots of abundance and new things come in, but just like the waves in this picture, they also got to go back out. So you have the cycle of decrease that comes along with it, but it's always followed by another new wave coming. So just remember that. Yes, you're watching something kind of float away, but this thing is still going to wash back up on the shore. Let's be clear about that as well. And I don't know that this message requires an extended, because I think, we've gotten pretty good detail on a lot of this, but I did want to grab one last card, and I'm disturbing my tree. One last card for messages from Spirit. If there's anything else here that Spirit would like to tell you about this situation. And we've got one. All right, so we've got that new start in the reverse. And this feels a little bit more like a, let's get a clarification on that one, because it feels clear and present in a funny way. Okay, so we have Four of Pentacles associated with something that is, it's basically, ordinarily I don't feel this off of this card, but this Ace of Cups in the reverse, it's love not coming, but it's like a door not opening. And this Four of Pentacles is like it's trying too hard. So maybe releasing a little bit, the song, to hold on loosely, because if you hold on too tight, you're going to lose control. And this kind of the message that's coming across right here. Oh, okay, so this didn't want to stay, but this is transformation. Okay, this is all about transformation and coming through with something that's new. It's an honorable mention. You have to let the transformation happen, but let's see if there's another card that actually wants to come through for us here to help understand that Ace of Cups that came out in the reverse. Because that door will not open if you hold on too tightly. And I also get the sense that's like with this person, the Queen of Cups. All right, so this ties in with this stack up here, and I got the strong sense of codependence off of this as well. And so basically this is, don't let there be too much obsessive thinking on your side. Make sure that that you're aware of kind of the thoughts that you're having, and you have some opportunity to think about how you want those to go. Because if you are at this door, you've got this door that you want to remain open because you want to allow this person to walk back in, but you can't stare at the door or pay too much attention to the door or get too attached to the idea of them walking back in. Instead, it's more a matter of leave the door open and then don't monitor it. They will have the opportunity to do their own healing and kind of come back in when the time is right. And the thing is, that's going to happen here. So there may be a marriage or a relationship or something in their life that needs to end. And they've got to be ready to come back and tell some secrets. So allow for that transition to take place, and just know that sort of thing can take a little while, because here's a situation where the two of you got synced up, and it was very much by surprise. It surprised both of you. The intensity with which it happened. Maybe it started, at work, and it surprised you, and then they were out. They got fear from it, which we see down here. It had a lot to do with being worried about the fact that you two work together. So they became unwilling to cross that space to you, and they just stopped. They just sat down and stopped. So it was slow, maybe slow text responses that dwindled down to, and now we're not talking at all. It's just almost a ghosting, sort of energy that I get there. But they don't want that. They wish they could be stronger. They wish they could trust themselves, that they had the strength to come through. I almost expect all these feelings together are like the Strength card in the Major Arcana, but this is a tough situation because there's growing to be done, and it's happening it's happening, but that we have to undo that battle that they did, that they feel like they won it, but at what cost. They have to at least explain that to you and kind of come clean. But you've got to leave that door open and then not monitor it and allow them to come back through. So that's kind of the picture with this reading. And again, we were reading for the people who are in separation, and are really asking the question about whether their person is coming back. And so again, I don't feel like we need an extended on this one, um, but ultimately it does look like it ends pretty well, so that's very positive. So hopefully, that's it for this reading. I hope that this resonated with you, and of course, like I said before, remember to like, share, and subscribe if it did, and I will see you next time.